Yes, it's true. Haven't you heard that YouTube is changing? You might have seen small channels with low subscriber numbers getting recommended to you on the homepage and starting to gain traction, getting tons of views with these videos that are kind of unedited and unfiltered. But it wasn't always like that, and this has just started just a short while ago. And in this episode, we're gonna be talking about all the changes that are happening on YouTube right now so you, as the creator, can benefit from all of these new changes. So with that said, let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Video Creator Show, where we talk about all things YouTube. My name is Augie Johnston. I'm here with my co-host, Grant Ball.
Hello. Good to see all of you.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about all these changes that are happening on YouTube and how you can benefit. So, Grant, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So, videos from channels with just a few subscribers are now popping up on my homepage. I'm like, wow, look at this video. It has, maybe sometimes even 500 views or sometimes 500,000 views. And when I click on the video and I go to their channel, it has like low subscribers, like sometimes even 1,000 subscribers. Why do you think that this is happening?
So YouTube is definitely trying to incentivize people to start new channels on the platform, and which I think is totally fair. They're trying to level the playing field and they want to give people a chance. Nobody wants to make videos for 3 years until finally you reach a threshold and then you can start getting views. That's just super unfair. So I do think YouTube is just trying to level the playing field. They're giving people a chance, and I'm seeing it too. I'm seeing videos with 200 views, 50 views. It's a thing. And a lot of people I talk to are having the same experience with their feed, and it's refreshing, honestly. And I do find a lot of these videos, and I think we're going to touch on this later, are pretty unfiltered. They're just somebody talking to a camera. They're not crazy editing intensive videos, and maybe that's just the most popular type of video on YouTube. But yeah, ultimately YouTube is trying to level the playing field here, and I feel like it's a good idea.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And I think I call these outlier videos, right? Because like I said, when you click on the video and you go to their channel and they have 1,000 subscribers and yet they're getting recommended to all these different people, it just makes you wonder, why this video? Why this specific video? What are the analytics and stuff on it? But first, before we dive into all of that, when did you first notice this starting to happen?
Probably a year ago. Yeah, it was a while ago. At least 6 months for sure. It's been going on for a while. And, YouTube is always changing the algorithm, but I also feel so I started noticing it about a year ago. Now I feel like it's more prevalent than it was when I first started noticing it. Maybe that's just because I've been clicking on more of those videos. YouTube might be keeping track of how many times you actually click these low view videos, and maybe it stops showing them to you if you're not watching any of them. I'm not sure, but I have noticed that it has increased since a year ago when I first noticed it.
Yeah, and that homepage is a great place to show up. If you do show up on that homepage and people click and watch your video, that your traffic source would be browse features. So when you look at browse in your traffic source, that's what that means. And so, yeah, I mean, why do you think that YouTube is doing this? Is there a specific reason you think?
Well, I think they're trying to level the playing field. They want people to feel like they have a chance on the platform. They want to incentivize new, fresh ideas on the platform. And I think this is smart. If you don't do this, then YouTube is going to get stagnant. Sure, you have these large channels and they're doing well and you can rely on them to get views. But, we've seen over the years, creators leave, companies leave, or they kind of get stagnant. It's the way of things. You need fresh ideas. You need fresh creators. And you can't do that if you are punishing people, kind of as it was in the past, for being small. That just isn't fair. So I feel like they are fixing this, to YouTube's credit.
And you have to give YouTube props, because I feel like they are the main platform that has always kind of been creator focused. How do we look out for the creator compared to so many of these other platforms? I mean, I remember when Facebook fan pages, you could have 1,000 people following you on a fan page, make a post, and 900 people would see it. It would pop up in their newsfeed, right? And then at some point, Facebook said, we'd rather people have to pay to get their content in front of people. We'd rather them have to run ads. So they kind of killed that. So now if you have 1,000 people that follow your fan page and you make a post, maybe like 1 or 2 people will get an impression or get shown that. So
that sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. And
come on, Zuck.
YouTube's been the kind of the forefront of paying creators, right, through their AdSense program way back in the day. And now I feel like this is just another step forward to incentivize people to create content for YouTube and also to view content on YouTube. It's not just for the creators, for the viewer too, because imagine if every single time you opened up your YouTube homepage and all you saw was Mr. Beast, Ali Abdaal, you know, all these channels that have like, you know, a lot of subscribers and stuff, then, you know, that's not really, I don't know, a good viewer experience for me, at least. Like, I love discovering new creators because sometimes those videos, you know, will draw me in. I'll watch it, I'll hit subscribe, and then they will recommend me more. And one last thing is, like, you got to remember that homepage for the viewer is custom to every single person that logs into YouTube. And you mentioned it. You said, you know, maybe they're showing me all these small channels because I click on those every time. If you're listening to this and you're like, I've never seen a small channel get recommended to me, well, it probably was, and you just clicked on Mr. Beast instead. So, so they're only going to show you that. But
you're being a normie is what we're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to cut that out.
Yeah, come on. Where's your, I don't know, be a little more experimental. But how do you think creators can benefit from this? Like, so now that it's known that YouTube is kind of doing this, as creators, how can we benefit from that?
Well, the first thing is just, if you're a small channel, like, I think there's a lot of overcoming of a fear of making videos for a long time and nothing happening. And I feel like there has been an artificial obstacle for a while. Like, I will say, in like 2014, when I first started posting videos, as soon as I started making videos that I felt like were legitimately good and entertaining, they immediately took off. And there was like some luck on my side for sure. I was in the gaming space. I was working with friends who were better at SEO than I was. Like, there was some methodical thinking that went into it. And we happened to be in gaming in 2014, which was a huge space. So there was some luck involved. But I did feel like those videos, once they were actually good, they shot up. Like, that was kind of all it took for the most part. And now they're kind of trying to recreate that. I don't think it's still quite the same. I think there's just more competition now. But now, I think if you are consistently making good videos, you don't have to worry so much about never being seen. Even if some of your videos are getting like 1,000 views or something, you know, that's something. It's like, some people are watching, some people are commenting, you're getting some feedback. And that means a lot, actually. Like, that's so much better than 0 or 5 or 10. And like half of those are you just refreshing the page, you know? Like, I think that's what we can look forward to with this kind of new paradigm that YouTube is introducing.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it that like a lot of times with so many creators, like, it only takes one video to kind of start the snowball, right? Like, you're posting, you're getting 50 views, 100 views, 40 views, 75 views, boom, 50,000 views, right? That one video that you post, for whatever reason, is getting recommended out, most likely because it has a high click-through rate and high average view duration and a lot of watch time, and people are hitting subscribe and they're leaving comments, right? All the things that the algorithm wants. They're clicking on your channel, they're binge watching more, and that's why that video is getting recommended, because it's creating a better viewer experience on the platform. And a lot of times what happens is that'll create like a new baseline for your channel. So, you know, let's say you're getting 1,000 views a month. All of a sudden you release one video that gets 50,000 views in the next 10 days, right? It just really takes off, and then it kind of flatlines out. But the good news is, from after that, you know, those 1,000 views a month you're getting will now kind of drop down to, you know, 5,000 views a month. And now you have a new baseline where every month you're getting 5,000 views, as long as you're kind of consistently publishing, right?
Right.
And then the goal is to, very shortly after that one took off, create another great video, because what's going to happen is all 50,000 of those people that just watched that video and liked it, they're going to get recommended like the next video that you publish, or the next 1 or 2, right? And it's going to pop up on their homepage as well. And if it's a great video and they click on it and they like it again, then you're actually going to shoot up again and get a new baseline where, you know, you're still going to be getting a lot of views a month. And that's really how so many creators do it. Is they struggle, they take off. Now they kind of, I think YouTube has enough data to kind of show them their videos to the right people. And now they continue to publish good videos, and then they just grow. It's like that exponential growth. Have you ever seen that happen, Grant?
Oh yeah, totally. Like, I was talking to one of my friends who's also a YouTuber, and he compared running a YouTube channel to starting a fire. So when you're first starting out, you're kind of like laying the foundation, you're putting down some kindling, and then you're kind of waiting for the lightning to strike. You know, like you've got your logs, you've got your kindling, and now that one video that takes off is going to feed into the rest of your videos. And that's really what you're going for, because sometimes you just don't get noticed, even though you're really good. And as soon as you do get noticed, assuming that your backlog of videos is, you know, similar enough to the video that got big, then that's going to feed into your channel really well. And then, like you said, as long as you make sure your next video after this, you know, really popular one is a banger, and you make sure that it's on a topic that you believe your audience is going to be interested in, you make sure the title is just as good as the video that did really well. Like, you still got to like check all the boxes, but as long as you're able to do that, then yeah, you will see that kind of exponential growth. The fire will take off, and you'll be very warm.
Totally. I think kind of like the final point of this is, if you've been kind of discouraged about YouTube, or you're just thinking about starting a channel and just haven't done it, now's the time to do it. There's opportunity to grow. So that's kind of the final point on that one. Now let's go ahead and move on and talk a little bit about kind of the evolution of YouTube and how it's evolved over the years. The reason I wanted to talk about this is ran across a tweet from Jay Alto, and he broke down what he thought was the evolution of YouTube. And I'll go ahead and share right now. He said 2005 to 2006 was the experimental era. That's where you had Meet Me at the Zoo, the very first YouTube video. That's when YouTube just started, right? 2005. Then 2006 to 2008 was the viral era, where people who weren't even trying to grow on YouTube were having viral videos, right? They were posting like, Charlie bit my finger, like those kind of videos where, you know, they weren't trying to make money or be a creator, but they just had a funny home video. They posted it, it went viral, right? You can remember all the cat videos and stuff like that. Then 2008 to 2011 was where kind of skits blew up on YouTube. You're thinking of like Smosh making skits. It was like the skit era. 2011 to 2015 was the personality era, where you saw like PewDiePie and a lot of different personalities. Maybe Markiplier started around that time, show up on YouTube. And then 2015 to 2018 was, he said, the connection era, the Casey Neistat era, the vlog era, where you could really make a good connection with your viewers. And then 2018 to 2023, which is basically where we're at now, is the sensational era, where you got your high production, Mr. Beast challenge videos, stuff like that. Would you say that's like a fair assessment of the evolution of YouTube?
I would say so, yeah. That is a really good rundown. And like, YouTube has definitely tended towards complexity, it seems like, because we are in the high production era. But it has kind of begged the question of what's next. Like, are we going to see more production, even higher production? You know, is Game of Thrones going to launch on YouTube, or, you know, the next Game of Thrones, so to speak? Or are we waiting for the mystical Michelangelo of YouTube to appear, you know, like the singular genius who just, I don't know, they got the vibe, they got the skills, they play guitar and know how to edit videos, or whatever. Like, what is next? Are we really heading towards further sensation? Are we heading towards authenticity? Are we just heading towards more of a fractionalization, a fracturing, where everybody kind of just goes into their lane? Like, maybe everybody watches a little bit of Mr. Beast, but like, ultimately, if you're interested in makeup tutorials or people kind of in that space, you're just kind of watching that space, regardless of, you know, how editing intensive or sensationalist the content is. You know, if you're more interested in gaming, you're going to stay over there. Like, this is kind of the big question to me, is like, is the next era a non-era, in the sense that like everybody will find their audience and we won't have a Mr. Beast necessarily? I mean, he's not going anywhere, but he's sort of defined what was it, 2018 to 2023. He has absolutely defined this era of YouTube. And I do wonder, like, is the future nobody quite defining it, or you kind of have to like try hard to see who is defining it? Like Mr. Beast, it's like the obvious choice, but maybe in the future it won't be so obvious.
Yeah, and I think we are seeing the shift back to like more authentic content, low editing, personality based. I mean, Sam Soli, I think, is the name of the big bodybuilder. He doesn't edit his videos at all. It's just, everything's just kind of like a vlog. He's in his car, he's at the weight room, he's flexing, he's doing that kind of stuff. So I do see that kind of content coming back, but I think think it's, you know, in those regards, it's long form, right? I think long form content is here to stay on YouTube. I think gone are the days where you're going to be creating 3-minute videos, which is kind of sad because I feel like some videos deserve to be 3 minutes, you know, but what we're going to be
like animations or something.
Animations. And I do think like with animations and stuff, like a 3-minute video or a channel that has 3-minute videos can still do well. But to be honest, man, I'm even seeing animation channels stretching these videos out 11 minutes, 15 minutes. And I'm just like, man, that's an expensive video to make. But, you know, Mr. Beast like sped everything along, you know, like if like Mr. Beast spending whatever he spends, $5 million, $3 million on a video, like you can't top that, you know, like he sped that up. Like that should have happened in like 50 years from now. People should have been doing that, you know, but Mr. Beast and his competitive nature and just his, you know, eagerness to be the #1 YouTuber, like kind of jumped ahead of everybody. And, you know, if you'd asked me 10 years ago what I thought YouTube content would be like in 10 years, I would say, yeah, higher production, but not spending $5 million on a video. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So he kind of, I feel like he did like kind of speed up the evolution of YouTube and all that. But I do think long form, more authenticity is here to stay. And, you know, maybe more collaboration. You know, I think that was definitely a part of YouTube's evolution at some point was everyone was just collabing. I don't see that as much anymore. I don't see Logan Paul trying to do collabs. I don't see just different guys trying to do that. Do you?
Not particularly. And I do think this speaks to the era we're in, right? So we're in the sensationalist era, maybe arguably kind of on the tail end of it. It's sort of petering out. I'm guessing there's a reason he chose 2023 instead of 2024, that tweet you were talking about. But I feel like the vlog era, it made a lot of sense to do collaboration, like that connection era where it's in the name, right? Connection. If your channel is based around personality and kind of connecting to your audience and being out and about and showing your life and what you're up to, it makes sense to have another YouTuber that you're interacting with, that you're hanging out with, that you're making videos with. It kind of like you feed into each other in a really real way. Whereas in this kind of sensationalist era, it's more about the title, right? It's about the theme of the video. And, you know, maybe you have, I know Mr. Beast, he'll have YouTubers in his videos, and that kind of adds something, but like, he's not putting their face in the thumbnail. He's not putting their name in the title. So I think that's probably the biggest reason that we're not seeing as many collabs. And I will say, even as like my own channel, Treesicle, we did a couple of collabs over the years, but it wasn't obviously that helpful. Like it's not like we did a collab with a channel that was a similar size and we're like, oh wow, look at this increase in views, you know? It was like a little more complicated to make the video because you sort of like get in your groove, right? You're like, this is how I make one of my videos. And you can kind of like get it done every week. But when you're collabing with somebody, now it's like, okay, how do I like make a video with this person? You know, it's sort of like this extra thing to figure out, and it can be fun. It was fun, but I don't feel like it added much to the channel necessarily. Like the experience of doing it was cool, but beyond that, I do feel like unless you are somehow using their kind of face to get more views and they're doing the same with you, then you're not necessarily getting anything out of a collab beyond just the collab itself. You know?
Yeah, my take on it is like, if you're planning on doing a collab because you think you're gonna get a ton more subscribers off their user base and all that, that probably is not gonna happen unless they really promote you really hard. But if the collab makes sense to make a really good video and a better video than you'd be able to make without the collab, then it makes sense to do it because then you can trigger the algorithm, then you can get promoted. So maybe that's kind of the future of what collabs are, is like, hey, do I need to have this person in my video? Oh yeah, if he's in my video, it's gonna make it a really great, you know, video. And that makes sense to me. Okay, let's keep the conversation going because YouTube is changing. There's a ton of changes happening. And the next thing I want to talk about is YouTube being viewed on TV now, because YouTube has just passed Netflix as being more hours being watched of YouTube than Netflix on TV now. So that's a big thing. Do you think that YouTube will start to make any kind of changes to the platform in order to focus on TV viewership?
I feel like it's going to go away from shorts. Like, I do feel because of TikTok in recent years, YouTube was really pushing shorts heavy. And they're still pushing them. They're still there. Like, they're important. But I do feel there is a collective anxiety about shorts, a collective disease about them. Like, we're tired of this feed of videos that we forget as soon as we watch them, you know? So I think watching YouTube on TV, it speaks to the fact that long form is here to stay. Like, I've watched shorts on a TV. You could do it. It's just like, what am I doing? It feels wrong. There's something very wrong. It's almost like you realize how preposterous short form content is when you're watching it on a TV. It's just like this giant vertical video, and you're just like, okay, and then you press down on the remote, and then the next short comes up, and it's weird, man. It's weird. So I just feel like YouTube is going to lean even more into long form content. I actually do feel like that point we were talking about earlier, where YouTube is promoting smaller channels, that feels like they're leading into long form content, you know, because shorts, like, anybody could go viral, and it almost felt like they were doing that on purpose, right? But now they're starting to do that with long form content. Even more so than a year ago. And so I think that's the biggest change. I know there's also YouTube TV. You can get like sports. It's like extra money, but that's been around for a while though. I don't know. What do you think? Like, how do you think YouTube is going to embrace this? Because I watch YouTube on TV at least as often as I watch it on my phone.
Yeah, I would say I probably watch YouTube the most on my computer, then on my phone, and then on TV. But I'll tell you what, the viewership on TV is definitely up because of kids, right? My kids will watch YouTube on the TV more than any other device. And that's really all they're watching, you know? Like, they don't want to put on Sesame Street, or that, you know, we're going to the YouTube app on the TV when they get some TV time. You know, my question, and I don't know the answer, but is the algorithm different on the TV? Like, should it be different on the TV?
Interesting.
Because it's just a different viewing experience. You know, like if I put on something on the TV, I don't want that video to end in 2 minutes and have to choose something else. You know, when I put something on the TV,
right,
I'm looking to watch, you know, at least 15 minutes or 10 minutes, I guess, or even longer, you know, 30 minutes. So I do think that they're most likely looking at how does the algorithm change for that, and how do we recommend videos? Are the videos getting recommended on the TV? Should they be longer or what? So it's just an interesting thing. And, you know, unfortunately, I do think that we're going to start seeing more ads, definitely on TV, because I don't know about you, Grant, but I tried to watch like cable TV the other day and I couldn't do it. As soon as the ads would come on, they'd be like 5 minutes long. And it was funny, like the other day too, I tried to make my kid watch a TV show, and like, as a kid, we sat through the ads, you know, like we would sit through the ads. There was no way I was keeping my kid through those ads to get to the next part of the show. It was like,
watch the brainwashing.
Yeah, exactly.
Child.
It was just like, it was Paw Patrol or something like that, you know, like some little kid show. And yeah, I mean, their attention spans are not able to stick around for that. They're just not used to it, you know. He was like, skip it. I was like, I can't skip it. You know. Yeah,
like,
and I do see that. Like, I watched the Mr. Beast video. It was on the TV the other day, and boy, man, every time they came to an ad break, I don't know if it's just him or what, but it was like a 60-second non-skippable ad. And I don't know if that was just on the TV. If I watched it on the computer, it'd be shorter. I don't know, but I do think that they're going to start taking advantage of the ads.
Interesting. I think you're definitely right about that. I have YouTube Premium, and which is arguably too expensive now. So I'm not necessarily recommending it or not recommending it, but I feel like it's like tripled in price since I got it. Anyway, I haven't noticed the ads necessarily. I think you're onto something as far as them leading more to the ads, but the point with your kid not being able to sit through cable TV commercials, that does weirdly give me hope for the future, in that we're not going to go back to cable TV ads, or at least as bad as it was. I do believe that. I still think YouTube, and pretty much any company, is always going to try their best to shove as many ads in as they can because they make more money. Like, that's just, it's the American way. Unfortunately, like, you can't get around it. So I am curious, like, how bad it's going to get. So when you said it was a 60-second unskippable ad, so like it was like a mid-roll ad, and it had it was separate from the rest of the video. It wasn't burned.
Yeah, it was a mid-roll AdSense ad. I don't know if it was 60 seconds. In my memory, it was, but it might have been a little shorter. But yeah, it was just on the latest Mr. Beast video, and I just man, I just thought that was kind of ridiculous, but I get it at the same time. I mean, Mr. Beast is definitely optimizing for ad revenue, for every kind of revenue in his videos, you know, because he's spending so much on them. But yeah, I think that what we're going to start seeing is just more storytelling, longer videos for these TV videos so that you can put one on and you could be entertained watching a video where someone might just be a talking head talking to the camera telling you a story. And I think people will continue to do that on TV. And I think Netflix is here to stay because they are different than YouTube, and because it's not user generated content, right? YouTube, quote unquote, is user generated content and Netflix isn't. And the question is YouTube really going to go and try to compete with Netflix in that front and pay money to get productions going, to make movies? I know they've done a few in the past, but it seems like they haven't fully leaned into that yet. And then charge people to subscribe to that or something like that. Or maybe they don't. Maybe it's all free and they're just making money off the ads. Do you see that being something that happens?
Yeah, I feel like they're still going to keep it free and make money off the ads, because I know in the past YouTube tried these kind of high production things. It was what, like YouTube? Yeah, I think it came with YouTube. It was called YouTube Red at the time, so YouTube Premium. And then if you had that, you could get access to exclusive shows that YouTube would back with certain YouTubers. Like, was it Liza Kelly, I think, had a show. There was other YouTubers with like high production shows, and it never really took off. It just, I think there was something about there being a paywall where the video didn't appear in the feed, because I feel like there's a vibe with YouTube where like anybody can see it, and that makes it more exciting. Whereas if it's behind a paywall, it almost feels less exciting. Like whatever you're doing automatically becomes less interesting, which is weird because like an Amazon show or a Netflix show or an HBO show, if it's really good, people still get hyped about it. But I think there's something about YouTube where if you put videos behind a paywall and they're not able to kind of float around in the algorithmic space that anybody can find them, they become less of a social phenomenon and they become more just like a normal show. And that's not what YouTube's about. And I think if you're a platform that already does that, like Netflix or Hulu, that's fine. But if you take that social aspect away, as you kind of have to with YouTube, if you're going to do that, it takes something away and it is not the same. And it just won't work. So I think YouTube is going to keep everything free. They're just going to inject more ads into things or keep jacking up the price of premium. And I'm actually going to search the price of premium right now, because I should check my credit card more.
I'm guessing it's like $9.99. At least that's what I remember. But yeah, I think you're right. Wow.
It's 14. Okay, it started as $10 a month. Now it's up to 14, which for some reason I thought it was like 30. Anyway, I'm just insane.
Well, I do pay for YouTube TV, which is kind of a totally different thing. And that's about $100 a month. It starts at like 65, and after like 2 years, it jacks up to like $100 a month. So it is pricey, but it's cable TV and it's great. I do like it. But I think you're right, because YouTube is kind of pigeonholed into like a free platform, right? It's like that's kind of what they are. They do have these little upsells to buy this or buy that, but in order to go all in and be like, okay, we are going to compete with Netflix, I think people will go to youtube.com and see that little thing to buy to watch these great shows and just click a free video and kind of like what would I do right now? You know, I'm skipping the ads. When they recommend the YouTube Premium, I'm skipping it every time. It seems like they recommend it 100 times. And you get like that ad blindness where I don't even really see it. It's just like an automatic click. So yeah, I think that's a good call. Like I said at the beginning of this, like props to YouTube. YouTube is creator based. That's why it's the platform that I recommend all businesses should start creating content on. Anybody that wants a creative outlet should start creating content on. And I think the good news is that they're promoting small channels. They're showing us that long form content is still their bread and butter. And why not just get rid of shorts? You know, like just get rid of it. Let that be an Instagram and a TikTok thing. And because all it's doing is confusing us creators. You know, like we're confused. We're like, should we be pumping out shorts or should we be sticking with long form? And, you know, I think the answer is both really. But, you know, I prefer that we could just not have to worry about that shorts part on YouTube. You know what I mean? Just like another burden almost.
It really is. And also, I would argue that shorts can be dangerous for your channel sometimes. Like, if your short form content doesn't relate enough to your long form content, you can end up getting a bunch of subscribers from shorts that don't watch your long form. And then you have this like bloated channel that, because subscriber to view ratio is really important for health of a channel. And there's kind of some ways you can get around that now. Maybe we could talk about that in another episode. But like, ultimately, you want a good subscriber to view ratio, and shorts can really like throw that out of whack. If you have like one that gets 10 million views and then the rest of your channel is getting like 100 views for a video, it's like weirdly dangerous for the health of a channel, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to like running ads to getting subscribers, right? You're getting all these clicks, they're hitting subscribe, but they saw you through an ad. They're probably not even going to come back. You targeted them. It wasn't the algorithm saying this person likes this kind of content. Let's show them that. And then they clicked on it and made it happen. So yeah, I think that's all great advice. And I think the good news for creators is that YouTube is continuing to look out for us, continuing to look out for the little creator. Well, I guess starting to look out for the small creator. And that's all good news. That's all good. That's all opportunity. So if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, because we're trying to get our subscribers up. And if you're listening to the audio version on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else, please make sure to follow us there. Today's episode was brought to you by vidchops.com. If you're looking to add an expert video editor to your team, head over to vidchops.com. And that's it for today. See you guys in the next episode.
Bye, everybody.